Today I have a video for complex inheritance patterns. So I have 4 different patterns that I want to talk about today. First one is codominance, incomplete dominance, pleiotropy, and last one is epistasis or epistasis, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, these 4 are the ones that I want to talk about today. And so what is complex inheritance patterns? Simply, these are the traits that are that have a genetic component, but they do not follow strict Mendelian inheritance. So they're like genetic stuff. These have genetic components and everything, but does not go along with the strict Mendelian inheritance. So they may involve interactions of 2 or more genes together, or have genetic, or not genetic, but also might have gene interacting with the natural environment. So simply, these are the traits against the Mendelian inheritance pattern. So the first one I have is codominance. So codominance is a relationship between 2 versions of a gene. So normally, an individual receives one version of a gene called AKA an allele from each parent. And if the alleles are different, the dominant allele will be expressed, and then the recessive one won't be expressed. So it will be masked by the dominant allele. But in codominance, what's interesting is neither allele is recessive. So and the both phenotypes of both alleles are expressed. So like in the pictures here I have as an example, the flower has both white and red color leaves. So meaning this is in codominance because it's expressing both alleles, red and white. And for instance here as well, the dog has white fur and black fur. So this is in codominance because it's expressing both alleles. So it makes third phenotypic trait that's expressing both alleles. Pretty straightforward. So the most common example of codominance is like AB blood type. Incomplete dominance, this is not a complete dominance. Incomplete dominance is a form of intermediate inheritance in which one allele for a specific trait is not completely expressed over its paired allele. So this results in a third phenotype in which the expressed physical trait is a combination of the phenotypes of both alleles. Like the example I have here, the flower, red and white flower, makes red and white, but also makes the intermediate color flower, which is pink. So this incomplete dominance might sound similar to codominance, but it is definitely different than codominance because in codominance, an additional phenotype is produced just like the incomplete dominance. So both of these patterns make a third phenotype. But what codominance is different from incomplete dominance is that codominance that has both alleles that are completely expressed. But here it has the combination of the phenotypes, not both alleles are expressed in incomplete dominance, but in codominance, both alleles are expressed completely, but not in incomplete dominance. That's the big difference. And pleiotropy. Pleiotropy can be found in many different forms, but mainly it is viewed as a causing inherited disease and disorders. So pleiotropy is the phenomenon of one gene being responsible for or affecting more than one phenotypic characteristic. So like I said, it is viewed as causing inherited disease and disorders. So what can also occur is that if the gene has a mutation, it ultimately affects all of the phenotypes that the gene was controlling. So which makes trickle down effect. So it's pretty much a domino effect. As the gene gets mutated, so do the traits that it is controlling, that it is exhibiting. So like example here, a single gene here, it is pleiotropy. It has the pleiotropy pattern, so it controls trait A B, and C, 3 traits here. So if this gene has mutation, because this gene controls all 3 traits, all 3 of them will also have mutation due to one gene being mutated. So this is why pleiotropy can be pretty risky, and cause a bunch of it can cause genetic disorders. Last one I have is epistasis. It is a circumstance where the expression of one gene is affected by the expression of one or more independently inherited genes. So simply what I said is what it is. But what's also really important is to remember about epistasis is that the epistatic gene has no effect on the genotype of the gene being controlled. It only influences the phenotype. So if the epistatic gene is not present, then the gene control that is being controlled would be expressed normally. So if pretty much epistatic gene is the bully gene. If the bully is not present, the gene that is being bullied is normally expressed. So the best example here is the picture I have. So if a person has the gene for albinism, his or her hair, skin, eyes, or whatever will not have pigment, no matter what other genes say their color should be, because the gene for albinism is a bully gene, and then that bully gene, epistatic gene, is controlling everything. So albinism, epistasis, and epistasis is one gene affecting other genes. So yeah, this is so far what I have. Hopefully you understood. If there's anything else that is confusing, please let me know, and make sure you go back to the lecture slides, because there are a few more complex inheritance patterns that the lecture includes, because I only picked 4 out of how many, whatever it was there. So make sure you look at this video and then go back to the lecture slide and review the other patterns as well. Thank you.